Good evening, everyone. It's DJ Vinyl Vertigo here. And as promised, I said I was going to start giving some love to soul music in the VC. Um, Six Inch Pianist was mentioning that in one of um, the whack-a-moles, the soul whack-a-mole that he did with Mazzy just recently. He said there needs to be more love given to soul in the VC. And soul disco, Nicole does it. Um, and it's really good to see that she does it. And I learned a lot from Soul Disco Page, and also from Six Inch Pianist. Some really great information about soul music and things that I knew, and there's things that they don't know that I know, kind of, sort of. So I figure, I guess I'm kind of an expert on certain types of things too. So I'm going to do my best here. It's not a whack a mole. It's kind of like the best of the 10 best, but it's a little bit more than 10, and a mixture of that and a little. It's the music stupid, but I'm just gonna call it Soul Session. Soul Session number one, and it's women in soul. And I decided to do just individual women, not groups, because there's a lot of girl groups and a lot of bands that have women in it that are soulful, like like the Supremes or like Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings and things like that. We'll get into that later, another time. I want to just talk about individual singers, um, and some of them who have been backup singers and session singers who actually have their own records. And this is all the people who I have on vinyl. So there'll be some people that you say, well, what about that? What about this? And I'll say, yeah, I know about her, but I only have her on CD, so I'm only talking about vinyl today. Um, this is alphabetical order because I pulled it out alphabetically because I'm like a crazy person. I'm a librarian when it comes to my music. Everything is alphabetized and put in certain genres and things like that. So in my soul section, we'll start with A. Um, this woman is a session singer. She was a backup singer. She's worked in many genres. Her first genre was probably jazz. She's done some Broadway and things like that, but she's also done soul music. She's done pop music. She's done singer-songwriter. She's also done blues, and um, she's done pop music, of course. And I'm talking about this great singer by the name of Patty Austin. This particular record is called "In My Life." It's a CTI label, and on this record, she has. Okay, let me just tell you about her. She's a very funny person. I've met her before. She's a really funny person. She's very hilarious. She's a very engaging person, and she's got all kinds of really cool stories about her life and her music, and things that she's done. She did a lot of like pop stuff and soul stuff and jazz early on in her career, and she had some hits and things. But if you don't get promoted properly, what happens is you kind of fall by the wayside, and the next big thing happens. So she did a lot of session work as well. And during the disco period, there was a band called Dr. Buzzard's Savannah Band, and she was asked to do some backup on that. And she thought it was a jazz session she was doing because it was like all these jazz artists were there and all that, but it was like disco, and she was like, "What is this?" She was like really freaked out. Who knew later on, Cherchez la Femme with Corey Day, who was sang the lead in that, she was one of the backup singers on that. And she said it was just the strangest thing. And she goes, who knew that was going to be a big deal? And that was when disco was really starting to pop and everything. And that's not something that she actually wanted to do. But a lot of jazz artists ended up doing a lot of things that they needed to do to make money. And they tried to make the best of it. And so that's why we have some really good disco, and then we have some really crappy ones. But some of the good disco was done by a lot of jazz artists and a lot of soul artists who like kind of reluctantly went into it because that was the trend. Anyway, so she did that for a while, but she came back and did other things. But she's worked a lot. You might have heard her on many records by Quincy Jones. She was a featured artist on a lot of his albums, sounds and stuff like that. The Dude, Mellow Madness, stuff like that. She's on a lot of those albums, and she does beautiful work on that. She's also sung some theme songs to movies, to children's movies, Somewhere Out There and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, this one has In My Life on there, and that's exactly what you think it is, In My Life, with Jerry Butler. She does a song called Body Language on this. Say You Love Me was a big hit for her on this one. She does a New Orleans song, Iko Iko, of course, but really beautiful, fluid, strong, kind of like like an alto type voice, I would say. Just beautiful, smooth. She could hit those high notes, and just a lot of joy in this person's voice, in her voice. Just a lot of joy in her delivery. You never feel sad when you listen to her. You always feel inspired. You feel up. You feel, you put in a really elevated place when you hear Patty Austin. Anything of hers, go for it. And some of the stuff, I don't like all of her songs on all of her albums, but I'm telling you, every album that she has a song on there that you just go, oh my God, I have to hear that again. She's just brilliant. So, Patty Austin, great artist. She has a really good live album that's really good too. She goes off on it. Next up, I don't think I have to do too much introduction. Mary Clayton. Mary Clayton's famous for doing that Rolling Stones tune that we will, you know what I'm talking about. She's like, she does the great stuff. This album is really, really good. She does Southern Man on this. Walk On In, it was a Carole King song. After All This Time, another Carole King song. Love Me or Leave Me, Let Me Be Lonely, a song for you. Everybody's done that song, and everybody does it very well. A lot of people do it really, really well. My favorite is Donny Hathaway's, but she does a really nice version of it. She does Steamroller on this one. Does Grandma's Hands, which is a Bill Withers tune. Another song she does a lot of Carole King tunes on here. Same old story. But, yeah, she's pretty amazing. Session singer, singer from the 60s, and, yeah, just... Gosh, rape, murder is just a shot away. It's just a shot away. This woman's incredible. Mary Clayton, love that afro. Yeah. Let's see. This woman, I've actually sung with. One year I did a festival, and I was one of the singers. It was myself. Paul Lockwood, Sharon Red, I forget the name of the other woman, Sharon, and Taka Boom, who is Shaka Khan's sister, and Jocelyn Brown. We all sang. It was for a New York Gay Pride. It was a big festival, and we all got on stage, and we were asked to do this new Pride song, and we premiered it, and we all sang on it. It was like a whole bunch of us on stage. It was really cool. But Jocelyn Brown, yeah, I was a singer in New York City. I think I've told you that before, and I still am a singer. But I was a session singer, and I sang a lot of backup, and I also had bands in New York City back in the day. But this is Jocelyn Brown. This is her classic record, and Somebody Else's Guy, which I think everybody knows that song. Very big song. She does Ain't Nobody Mountain High Enough. The other song that she does on this that was a big hit for her was I'm Caught Up in a One-Night Love Affair. I'm caught up in a one-night love affair. And the song that I love so much on this is I Wish You Would. I Wish You Would is one of those songs that will fill a dance floor any day of the week. It has got the best keyboards in it, best bass line you can imagine, and the singing. You know this girl comes from church. This is a church woman. She comes from the same avenue as Aretha Franklin. She's got this powerhouse voice, big barreling belty voice. She's a belter singer, very from the gut. You know what I mean? I mean, she pulls no punches on this. So she's really good. She would have been a great artist on the Stax label if she was on the Stax label, but she wasn't on the Stax label. Yeah, Jocelyn Brown, somebody else's guy. And some of these records, I think, if you're into soul music or any kind of R&B, these should be in your collection. The ones that I'm showing you should be in your collection. This woman defies category. This next one. And I think that my father always had her records in his jazz collection. And my mom goes, is she really a jazz singer? I don't know. But she defies category. People are always debating, was she a soul singer? Is she singer-songwriter? Is she folk? Is she jazz? Is she pop? I say she's in all of it. There's no category. She's just a vocalist, a stylist, and a songwriter. And this is her first album, and I think it's probably one of the most respected of her records. Roberta Flack. Les McCann presents Roberta Flack, First Take. Great album. This has Compared to What on it? Angelitos Negros, Ballad of Sad Young Men, and of course, the most famous, The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. It's a Ewan McCall song. And Clint Eastwood heard that song when he was driving in Los Angeles, when he was making Play Misty. He was planning on putting together the film Play Misty for Me, and he heard that song, and he had to know who that was. And she had already put this album out, and it wasn't really doing that much. And he loved that song, and he goes, that has to be the song. That has to be the song that galvanizes, that puts the whole film together. And that song became infamous or famous, or, it really became tied to that film and became very popular, and thus this album became popular after that, and the rest is history. She was a school teacher, and I think a lot of people in the music industry, especially vocalists, were once school teachers. I don't know. I was a teacher. She was a school teacher, and she ended up becoming a vocalist and a great piano player, of course. I actually introduced her at the Capitol Theater a few years ago. She's very frail. She's pretty frail now, but her voice is pristine, just unbelievable. And she's very small and frail now. But if she ever plays anywhere, which is very rare now, I don't think she plays very much at all now. But if you ever see her name on a marquee, get a ticket. You will not regret it. I think you already know that. Roberta Flack. Yeah. Okay. Next. Okay. Next up. I don't need to talk too much about her. And this is not the definitive record of hers, but I don't have everything of hers on vinyl. I have pretty much everything of hers on CD. The Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. This particular record is called Love All the Hurt Away, title track, and she does that song with George Benson. They sing a duet with that. It's brilliant. She does a version of Hold On, I'm Coming on this record that it's an updated version. It doesn't take anything away from the original Sam and Dave, Hold On, I'm Coming. That's incredible, and you'll never be able to top that. But she takes it in another direction. It's more funky. It's like a funky, dancey version of it, real funk sound. And she just does stuff on this that I just go. And she does like a little bit of like a little poetry, not a rap, but she talks in the middle of the song in the way that only she can. You know how she has those little conversations in the middle of the song? She works it. It's really good. There's a lot of really great songs on here. She does You Can't Always Get What You Want. She does a really nice version of that, a dance version of that. Living in the Streets. Oh, man, that's a good song. Love All the Hurt Away was a big hit for her with George Benson. This was 1981? Yeah, 1981 on Arista. Aretha Franklin. A very svelte Aretha Franklin for her. All right. Yeah. Next up is my queen. Anybody who knows me knows that this is probably my number one most favorite singer of all time. Of all time. In any category. Ever. Ever. And that is Chaka Khan. And I showed her one of her other records on my other video about my 10 most go-to records. And what you're going to do for me? Well, this is the Chaka Khan record. Scavullo did the photography on this. I call this the Scavullo record. Excuse me. I'm choking a little bit. And she doesn't look prettier than ever. She looks prettier than ever on that. She couldn't get any prettier. This album, the big hit on this was Tearing It Up. And she hit some high notes on that one. But the first side is incredible. It opens with Tearing It Up. There's a song called Slow Dancing that she does with Rick James. There's a duet with Rick James, and it's very sexy and very good. She does like a weird dancey country song called Best in the West. And then she does the Jackson 5's Got to Be There. That's how she ends it. That was another hit for her. That was a big single for her. Side 2, Bebop Medley. She does this whole thing where she does all these jazz tunes in a medley. And she proves that she can scat, she can sing jazz, she can do it all. It's called Bebop Medley, and it starts out with Hot House going into East of Suez, Come On Sailor, Epistrophe, I Want to Play, Yardbird Street, Con Alma, and it ends with Giant Steps. And if you haven't heard this, you need to hear her go from one song to the next. It's amazing. Incredible people on this record as well. Twisted is a really cool mid-tempo song. Another kind of sexy type song. So Not to Worry. And then she finishes up with a dance tune, like a funky dance tune called Pass It On, Sure Thing. Pass It On, Sure. And this is produced by Arif Mardin, who produced a lot of her early records. It has incredible people. Hiram Bullock is on this record. Michael Brecker, Steve Ferrone, Paul Jackson Jr., Sammy Figueroa. I'm just running around. Will Lee from the Brecker Brothers. You know Will Lee. Just amazing. Robbie Buchanan's on here. And on and on and on. It's just amazing. Such a good record. Such a good record. And but anything by Chaka Khan to me, with the exception of maybe one record that, you know, I don't need to go into that. Almost every record of hers, to me, I can listen to from cover to cover. Almost. All right. And next one. This woman shocked the crap out of a lot of people when she first came out. She ended up having a relationship, a professional and personal relationship with Rick James. She was a Motown artist, and she was considered blue-eyed soul, but a lot of times people didn't even say that about her. They just said she was a sister. She was a sister with light skin. And it's Tina Marie. This girl can blow, let me tell you. She's not with us anymore. This is one of her classic records. This is probably one of her most popular records that most people know. A lot of people who into Tina Marie probably know only this one. She's got a lot of great records, but this one everybody knows. It starts out with Must Be Magic, which is the title track. And on here is 365 and Opus 3. The second side 2 has much more hits on there. Square Biz, which is, it's a long tracks, and she actually raps on that one. Square Biz, everybody knows that. Portuguese Love, and that's how she pronounces it. Portuguese Love is Portuguese Love. And she finishes up with an old tune called Yes Indeed. And I'm telling you, Tina Marie, she's a high-pitched voice, very high vibrato, and I don't usually like heavy-duty vibrato, but this woman could do no wrong. The first time I heard Tina Marie was in a club. I heard her voice on a song called I Need Your Lovin'. The bass line on there just starts off, and then the music comes on and she goes, "Hoo," and she just she starts singing. I'm like, who is this and where can I buy this? And I found out about Tina Marie and I became a fan ever since. And she's always, I always, you know, people always used to go, that's a white girl? Unbelievable. Tina Marie. Killer vocals. Just amazing. I don't think she ever got as big as she should have been, but that's okay. She's left us with a legacy. She's left us with a whole catalog of really great music, and people can really get into her now. And speaking of people who you can get into, and this is the person who should have been bigger than she was. She was a backup singer. I know she was a backup singer for sure for Shaka Khan. And we'll see it. There's another one here that was a backup singer for Shaka Khan. We're going to be hitting that soon. She had a huge hit with a Prince song. She covered a Prince song, an early Prince song, called Do Me Baby. This woman, another alto, very similar to Shaka Khan. She had a very similar type of voice to Shaka Khan. I don't think her voice is as strong as Shaka Khan's, but it's very different kind of voice. It's a more smoky voice. And yeah, she had that 80s hairstyle. Melissa Morgan. Another one who has, I think she probably was influenced by a lot of male singers because she's got a lot of that male, there's a lot of male energy in her vocals. If you can grasp that, you know, just she's kind of tough. She's just tough, you know. And she has a song called "Do Me." It opens with "Fool's Paradise." "Heartbreaking Decisions," another one. "Do You Still Love Me?" Incredible ballad. I mean, she just rips your heart out with that one. And side 2 is "Do Me Baby," and "Get to Know You Better." Getting to know you better. She ends it with "Lies," but some of the highlights, like I said, "Fool's Paradise," "Heartbreaking Decision," "Do You Still Love Me?" Just every time I hear that, it just drives me crazy. And definitely "Do Me Baby." She has another album that she does where she does she does an Al Green song, "Still in Love." She does a dance version of "Still in Love" that, to me, I love Al Green's version, but if I really want to feel good, I listen to Melissa Morgan's version because it has this church organ, B3 organ in there, and it's much faster, and it's danceable, but I'm just waiting for the choir to come out. I mean, it's hand claps in there and everything. It's so good. Melissa Morgan, definitely somebody to check out. This woman I have always loved from day one. I fell in love with her when I first saw her on stage, but the first time I ever heard her was she had this one hit, the only hit that I think she's ever had, a big hit that she's ever had in the United States. She had another minor hit with Will Downing. It was a cover where they did a tribute to Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway doing "Where Is the Love," which I think is on this album, I think. Yes, it is. It's on this album. It's Misha Paris. And this is it still has a shrink on it. Misha Paris. Misha Paris is from the UK. Incredible. She's got a really deep alto voice. Very deep, very smoky, and very similar. I think her attack or her intonations and her vamping is very much like kind of like India Ari on that kind of thing. But the song style is not the same as India Ari. She's more of she does a lot more straight up soul and dance music, that kind of stuff. She did a lot of dance music and a lot of 80s kind of stuff. You know, she was really big in the 80s. But she still does really a lot of great stuff. Now she just put a gospel album out. But this one starts out with "Like Dreamers Do." Her big hit was "My One Temptation," which sounds very much like a Burt Bacharach type song. And that was a huge hit for her. but she's got really funky songs. Nothing hits your heart like soul music. Sway is a ballad that just kills you with the saxophone in there, and she just Don't Give Me Up is another ballad that she can work a ballad. She's a balladeer, totally a balladeer. But even her dance songs have that ballad feel to it. She's very dreamy, and I remember she's a tall, statuesque, just gorgeous, dark skinned black woman. I remember I saw her at the Bitter End in New York City. I was sitting at the table right in the front of the stage, right at the lip of the stage where my table was, and band's playing, and this tall, statuesque Amazonian woman comes out with nothing on but a bright cherry red Armani suit. I'm sure it was Armani suit. No shirt underneath. Some, I guess, black high heels. I don't even know. Whatever. And she was stunning, and just grabbed that microphone and just blew everybody away. I mean, nobody wanted to leave. I mean, when she finished the last encore, people were just applauding and applauding. Lights went up, people were still applauding and screaming because they wanted her to come back out again. Of course, she wouldn't come out again, but what a show. She's amazing. It's a shame that America didn't really, catch on, except for that one song, My One Temptation, pretty much. But she's had many hits in Europe and in the UK, and it's just a shame that America never really caught on with her. But Misha Paris, you ever see, and you can do this dirt cheap, because people just don't know. But another story about her is that Prince was in love with her, not romantically in love with her, but he was in love with her professionally. And I think the story goes is that she was in the audience in London at one of his shows, and right in the front, and she was singing right along with him. It was not a big club, and she was singing right along with him, and he actually stopped the show and pulled her up on stage, and he gave her a microphone and said, you need to sing with me, and the rest is history. I mean, she'd already been doing stuff, but he focused on that, and he got to know who she was. And not long after that, she had already had her first album, and not long after that, she got a phone call. She was home in London. She got a phone call from L.A. or from Minneapolis or wherever it was, and it was Prince. And he said, "I want to fly you out to Paisley Park. I've got some songs that I wrote with you in mind." And so she flew out there, of course. And one of those songs ended up on her second album, If I Love You Tonight, which became a big hit for her as well, from the Contribution album. But yeah, that's another great album. I'm trying to find that one on vinyl. I have everything of hers on CD, and I just happen to have this on vinyl. But yeah. Another vocalist, great vocalist, who has an incredible short career. Well, no. I'm sorry, not a short career. A varied career. And I thought it was a short career until I learned more about her, that she'd been around even earlier than I knew. Everybody knew her for Loving You. And that is Minnie Riperton. Right? And Minnie Riperton came from the kind of the prog folk rock period in the 60s and the 70s. She was in a girl group. She joined another band. I can't think of the name right now. I'm sure somebody's going to put it in the comments section, the rock band that she was in, where she met her husband, Richard Rudolph, who's Maya Rudolph's father. She's Maya Rudolph's mother. This is Minnie Riperton. And this is her second album, Adventures in Paradise. This is like her third or fourth album, because her album that has Loving You on it, Angel, that's not her first album, but everybody thought that was her first album. She had others prior to that. But this one has Baby This Love I Have. The big song on here is Adventures in Paradise. Simple Things was a big thing for her. Alone in Bruce Bray is a beautiful song. Adventures in Paradise was a big hit for her. when it comes down to it. And the song that I really love is Inside My Love. It's a mid-tempo love ballad, and it's one where she holds her high notes for at least, I think, almost a full minute. She just holds this really high note, and it just goes on and on and on, and you just sit there, and it's like, I used to play that song over and over and over again. And the story with this photograph, that's an actual lion that I guess is used in a lot of was used in a lot of photographs, and I think he was declawed, and I think they also took his his front teeth out or whatever. But still, during the photo shoot, he did jump at her. he, I think the room was hot, the lights were hot, and he was irritated. And there's film footage of him jumping up at her, and they kind of pulled him out. They pulled her out of the shot, of course, and she jumped out of the chair, but they pulled her out of the shot. He jumped at her, yeah. But she looks like she's very calm with him now. But that's an actual, real lion. It's not Photoshop. It's actual. So I've seen the video of that. It's pretty wild. All right. Got two more. Two more. Okay? The next one. And I'll get better at this. This one has to shrink on as well. Another backup singer for Shaka Khan. There's quite a few. There was a time that the Coconuts, from Kid Creole and the Coconuts, were Shaka Khan's backup singers. It's one of the tours. I think it was a I Feel For You tour. I'm almost positive. But this woman was a backup singer for several years for her. And her name, she's no longer with us either. Her name was Vesta Williams. And this woman, she sounds like she needed to be with Shaka Khan, because her sound, her style, her voice is she's almost like a twin vocally to Shaka Khan. A little less funky, a little more 80s dancey, more dance music oriented, and also some jazzy stuff, which is why there's a lot of similarities. She doesn't have as much funk on there. It's kind of funky, but not like Shaka Khan funky. This album has Once Bitten, Twice Shy, which was a big hit for her. Sweet Thing is another one that's really, really good. And this woman can. It's You is another song. But the other album, which I don't have it on vinyl, I have it on CD. She had another hit called Congratulations, which is basically a song about a woman who sees the man that she loved getting married to somebody else, and she's going up to him and saying congratulations. I wish it could have been me, but it's not. So congratulations, I'm letting you go. But she sings the crap out of anything. Yeah, Vesta Williams. She ended up doing jazz towards the end of her life. She died pretty young. She had like heart trouble. I think it's heart failure or something like that. But amazing singer, Vesta Williams. Very funny woman also. Even on her records, she does little funny things in between the songs, little vignettes. She's pretty funny lady, but an amazing singer. And we're still in the W's. This is the last one. This woman, I know, would have mesmerized us even more with the work if she had lived past 27. She's in the 27 Club. She's from the UK. And she had a very short career because of drugs and alcohol. But she left us still quite a legacy. And I'm going to show her remix record. But I wish she had lived, because I think we would have seen so much from her. There's so much that we did not get. It's Amy Winehouse. I feel so cheated that she's gone so fast. This is her remix record. This came from Record Store Day for about 3 years ago. I think it's from 3 years ago. And This has remixes of her big songs, like "Stronger Than Me," from not just from the Back to Black, but also from Frank. Um, "Stronger Than Me," "Take the Box," "Fuck Me Pumps," "In My Bed," "Rehab," "Back to Black," "You Know I'm No Good," "Tears Dries on Their Own," "Love Is a Losing Game." What else? That's it. And then some other versions of some of those songs again. Several versions. There's several versions of "Love Is a Losing Game." There's several versions of "Fuck Me Pumps," and several versions of "Back to Black." This is a double vinyl, and I think there's two versions of "Rehab" on here too. Some really good remixes on this. Yeah, it's definitely fun to listen to this. It's not all dancey remixes either. It's just really good remixes of these songs. And Amy Winehouse was badass. Just a very tragic figure. And I just want to get my feet wet with this. So I'm going to start doing stuff with less records next time. I just want to throw a whole bunch out there to show you the diversity of the women in soul music, and of course not all of them, because there's others. There's Ashford and Simpson, Valerie Simpson from Ashford and Simpson. There's a lot of different people who I could talk about, but I'm going to wait. Gladys Knight and the Pips, Gladys Knight, and all that kind of stuff. But we'll hit a lot of those as we go on, and in different types of ideas. But I just wanted to throw those out. I'm going to probably do some of the best. Next time I'll probably do some of the male vocalists in soul music that I think that you should know about, or you should know more about. Because sometimes you only know one or two songs. And these are artists I think you should dive deep into. There's a lot of male vocalists that I think you should dive more deep into, except not just the hit song, but deeper. Get deep. I don't think people get deep enough into Donny Hathaway or Bill Withers or Jerry Butler or even Lou Rawls. I don't think people dive deep enough into these guys. They focus more on Sam Cooke, on Otis Redding, Marvin Gaye. That's cool. I mean, that's great. But there's these other guys that people just don't dive deep enough into these people, and they really need to be looked at. Maxwell is another one that I don't think people look at him more than maybe This Woman's Work and maybe one or two other songs that he's done. But there's a whole bunch of great stuff for some of these artists, and I'll be talking about that. Hopefully, if people like it. If you don't like it, I'll try something else. But we'll see how it goes. This was a primitive one. It's going to get much more sophisticated, trust me. Next time I'll pare it down to maybe 5 artists. That way I can focus more on those 5 artists and show more of their records and that kind of thing, and do that kind of thing. So I hope you enjoyed this. Put comments in the comments section. Comments always can be helpful for me to improve. And everybody can use a little improving, don't you think? And I'm aware of that for myself. I do radio every week, so this should come very easy to me. But I don't do it in a visual sense. I do it with a microphone, and you don't see me. It's a whole different ball game. Now you can see me, so it's just different. You just feel a little more, naked, and that's cool. And that's a learning experience for me. Very happy to do this, and I will continue to do more. But leave a comment in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed, do that as well. And like this if you like it. You don't have to, but I'm asking if you could. Anyway, you have a good evening. I hope you enjoyed this, and keep listening to great music.